Hi, Cons. How are you all doing? Great. In today's session, we will talk about before reading, during reading, and after reading. So, whenever you start reading a novel or any of your favorite story books, you think about what is going to be in this book regarding what and all. You think about it, right? Okay, so and then during reading you have so many questions, like you become curious as to what is going to happen next, and you think why it is like this, why not like this and all. So and then after reading, so after reading also we have many things to reflect upon. Okay, so let's understand all those things and let's get started. Okay, so before reading, during reading, and after reading. Let's start with before reading. So, what will this book be about? So, we often think, when we start with a new book reading, so we think, okay, what is this book about? And then, what does the title tell me? So, when we critically read the title, we try to understand, okay, what is the title talking about? And then, what do I already know about the topic? So, do we already know anything about that? Right. So what do I want to learn? So from this, what am I going to learn? And then during reading, what happens during reading? Okay. You wonder why. Okay. You wonder, oh, why is it like this? Correct? And then also you become curious as to what is going to happen next, and your curiosity builds up. And then what would happen if not like this, what would happen if it was like this? And then how? So how is the character feeling? Does this make sense? What do I think will happen next? What have I learned so far? So these are some of the things that we think during reading. And after reading, okay, so after reading, these are the kind of reflections that we could do. Like, what is my opinion of this particular book? What was the author's message? So what was the author trying to communicate to us? And then what did I learn? So from this book, whichever book you read, you try to understand what did you learn from that. So and you think, why is this information important to you? And then what was the main idea about the novel, and what do you still want to know more about it? What new words did I learn? Why did the author write this? Okay, so these are the kind of reflections before reading, during reading, and after reading. Okay, so before we begin the reading session, a quick recap. Okay, here's your first question. There was a flash and thunder. Now, where did Bokasura appear? Bala didn't go to Namit's uncle's house and he was at home. So, did he come to Bala's room? You are absolutely right. Yes, in Bala's room. The next question. Who appeared on the TV screen while Bala switched it on? Yeah, Chota Bean, Chota Bean. Right. Cartoon character. And the last one. What was Bukasura requesting to Bala? So as soon as Bala switched on the TV, Chota Beam appeared, and after a while Bukasura said, yes, don't torture me, please switch it off, kind of request he was doing to Bala. Okay, let's continue with the reading. Okay, we read till here, this page. So let's continue from there. Do something. I'm getting blinded. Okay, so Bukasura covered his eyes and groaned. So now Bukasura started covering his eyes and he's saying, I'm getting blinded, please switch it off. And we have a new word, groan. That means a deep sound in pain. So whenever you have a pain, it is like, for example, here she groaned due to severe stomach pain. So it's a kind of pain, like the sound that is made due to pain. Okay, Bukasura was going all strange. There was smoke coming out of his ears and nostrils. Now what happened? So smoke was coming out from the nose, nostrils and the ears. He held the sides of his heads and moaned. His eyeballs fell onto the floor. Oh, how weird. His eyeballs fell onto the floor. Okay, then his head split open, all of them. Then all of the 10 heads got split open. It opened completely. Ah, gooey lumps came squishing out. It was like the cauliflower curry his mother made, except that it had a foul stench. Stench is smell, foul smell. Okay, so he was comparing with the cauliflower curry. It was all coming out. The lumps were all coming out. There were worms wriggling all over the soft, rotting parts of Bukasura's brains. Oh, there were worms coming out. The meaning of wriggling is twist and turn with quick movements. Example, the baby was wriggling around mother's lap. Here, the worms were wriggling. The wires which held them together were rusted and giving way. Something small and black and round like goat droppings lay right in the middle. So he was all thinking, he was making comparisons of different things, how like Bukasura was getting into pain, his head's getting open, his eyes fell onto the floor, right? Okay, so let's read along now. Place your index finger. Okay. Bukasura covered his eyes and groaned. Bukasura was going all strange. There was smoke coming out of his ears and nostrils. He held the sides of his head and moaned. His eyeballs fell onto the floor. Then his head split open, all of them. Gooey lumps came squishing out. It was like the cauliflower curry his mother made, except that it had a foul stench. There were worms wriggling all over the soft, rotting parts of Bukasura's brains. The wires which held them together were rusted and giving way. Something small and black and round like goat droppings lay right in the middle. Okay, moving on to page number 87. It heaved and gasped and quivered. So we have three new words to learn all together. So let's understand what is heaved. That means to rise and fall in alternate movements. So getting up and fall, rising and falling. So that is the meaning of heaved. And gasped is a sudden or short intake of breath. And quivered, that means shake with a rapid motion. Okay, so this was all happening with Bukasura. It heaved and gasped and quivered and finally stopped breathing. So what happened? Bukasura finally stopped breathing with a lot of, like problem, like he rised and fought and he was facing trouble with the breathe and all, and he was shaking with a rapid motions. Okay, and then Bala said a silent prayer for Bukasura's imagination. Bukasura's body shook and shivered all over. It seemed to be growing bigger. So now soon Bukasura's body was shaking and shivering and it was growing bigger and bigger. Yes, it was definitely puffing up, ballooning. Bala was afraid Bukasura would burst. The way Bukasura was puffing and it was he was growing bigger, like he was a kind of ballooning. So now Bala started getting afraid whether Bukasura would actually burst. Okay. Great clouds of steam poured out. Bukasura whistled like a pressure cooker. The whistle turned into a roar. Bukasura erupted like a volcano. He clutched his stomach and lurched forward, throwing up all the books he had ever eaten, millions of them from each mouth. So what happened? Soon, Bukasura was whistling like a pressure cooker and then into a roar, and soon he started erupting like a volcano. And very soon he started throwing up all the books that he has eaten from all the mouths. Okay, so now read along with me. It heaved and gasped and quivered and finally stopped breathing. Bala said a silent prayer for Bukasura's imagination. Bukasura's body shook and shivered all over. It seemed to be growing bigger. Yes, it was definitely puffing up, ballooning. Bala was afraid Bukasura would burst. Great clouds of steam poured out. Bukasura whistled like a pressure cooker. The whistle turned into a roar. Bukasura erupted like a volcano. He clutched his stomach and lurched forward, throwing up all the books he had ever eaten. Millions of them from each mouth. So from each mouth, millions of them came out. Okay, moving on to page number 88. Then one head bounced onto the floor, and another, and another. One by one, they fell onto the floor. Soon, one by one the head was bouncing and falling onto the floor, and soon all the heads bounced and fell onto the floor. And they were bouncing around like basketballs. They slowed down and finally stopped, lying motionless on the ground. So soon all of them and fell down. They were bouncing, and then it stopped, and then there was no movement at all. The monster was now headless and harmless. So the Bukasura now had no heads, and he is not even going to harm anybody, right? He could eat neither Bala nor his books now because he has already collapsed. Bala moved aside to let him pass. Bukasura stumbled into the darkness. The TV had zapped his eyes and brains and body. So the weapon that Bala tried to use to defeat Bukasura has worked out very well, that the TV had zapped his eyes, brains and body, and soon he got defeated. Bhima had defeated Bakasura and Chota Bhim had helped Bala overcome Bukasura. So now who helped Bala? Right, Chota Bhim helped him. Bala looked at the mushy, mangled mass lying below him on the ground. There's a new word, mangled, that means spoiled or destroyed by tearing or crushing. Example, my sweater got mangled in the washing machine. Okay, so now let's read together. Then one head bounced onto the floor, and another, and another. One by one, they fell onto the floor, bouncing around like basketballs. They slowed down and finally stopped, lying motionless on the ground. The monster was now headless and harmless. He could eat neither Bala nor his books now. Bala moved aside to let him pass. Bukasura stumbled into the darkness. The TV had zapped his eyes and brains and body. Bhima had defeated Bakasura and Chota Bhim had helped Bala overcome Bukasura. Bala looked at the mushy mangled mass lying below him on the ground. Okay, what a mess. Then he looked beyond it at the books. Bukasura had spewed out. There were so many of them. Where was he going to keep all those books? What if baby ate the pages? So spewed is the meaning, or sending out in large quantities. That is a kind of vomiting. Like Bukasura had sent out all the books that he has eaten these many days. Okay, so now he's thinking, where should he keep all those books, because baby might eat them. Bala pulled at the air near his ears. Idea! Bala ran after Bukasura, shouting, all those books you spat out, I'm going to set up a library with them. I will read to you every day. It will be fun. So now he is also saying, Bala is saying, I'm going to set up a library with all these books and I'm going to read it for you every day. And it is going to be fun. Every day, Bala picked 3 books and set off for the cave. Bala sat outside the cave reading to Bukasura. Every single day, by the end of the 3rd story, Bala would hear Bukasura snoring peacefully. So every day Bala used to pick 3 books, go to the cave and read for Bukasura. Every day. And then Bukasura used to sleep happily. Okay, read along with me. What a mess. Then he looked beyond it. At the books Bukasura had spewed out. There were so many of them. Where was he going to keep all those books? What if baby ate the pages? Bala pulled at the hair near his ears. Idea! Bala ran after Bukasura shouting, all those books you spat out. I'm going to set up a library with them. I will read to you every day. It will be fun. Every day, Bala picked 3 books and set off for the cave. Bala sat outside the cave reading to Bukasura. Every single day, by the end of the 3rd story, Bala would hear Bukasura snoring peacefully. If you happen to be in Melagam in summer, you might find Bala reading to Bukasura. So that's the end of the novel Bukasura. I hope you really loved it and enjoyed throughout. And these are some of the books that Bala has eaten. Like, I can read with my eyes shut, which, it is, the author name is also given. You can just go through them. Okay. And here's your learning engagement. You're going to do exercise 3, page number 30 and 31 in grammar book. And you're going to do an interesting activity. You're going to draw a monster in your journal, and your monster can be funny, scary, and or even silly too. Okay, that's all from my side. See you all soon. Bye.